Hi, this is Teacher Jennifer from U.S. Citizenship Podcast. Every week we bring you practice interviews, quizzes, and the latest news that help you get ready for your U.S. citizenship interview. Today we're going to read the news release from USCIS announcing the final rule enforcing long-standing public charge and inadmissibility law. I would like to make a few comments about the USCIS public charge rule before I read the rule's summary and full text. A public charge is a person who depends on the government to pay for his or her food, clothing, housing, health care, and more. The new USCIS public charge rule says that an immigrant to the United States must be able to financially support his or herself. If a person cannot support his or herself, then he or she will not be allowed to legally enter the United States. I want to emphasize that the new public charge rule affects people who want to get a green card and become legal permanent residents. The public charge rule does not directly affect people who are legal permanent residents. Although the public charge rule is not about legal permanent residents who are preparing for their citizenship interview, they should be prepared to answer extra questions about their financial status if they submitted an I-912 Fee Waiver Form or an I-912 Fee Reduction Form with their N-400 application for naturalization. The USCIS plans to update both the I-912 and the I-942 on October 15, 2019 to reflect the changes of the new public charge rule. We're still waiting for the updates for the N-400 application for naturalization. I want to talk a little bit more about the indirect impact of the public charge rule on the citizenship interview. The current administration is particularly concerned about immigrants' ability to financially support themselves. During the citizenship interview about employment and school, a USCIS officer sometimes asks a non-working applicant about a spouse's occupation, place of employment, and joint tax return. Furthermore, senior citizens who are preparing for their citizenship interview should be prepared to answer more questions about financial support. I'm going to ask you about how do you financially support yourself? Do you work?
I'm retired in Taiwan, but suppose is a young daughter. But I have pension in Taiwan. I have pension money and the saving in America bank.
Okay, so you would have money, a savings account in an American bank.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Senior citizens may also be asked about taxes. For example, does your child declare you as a dependent on his or her tax return? Do you pay taxes on your pension or investments in a foreign country? Part 12, Question 30I is also strongly linked to the public charge rule. It asks, have you ever made any misrepresentation to obtain any public benefits in the United States? Many times in the interview you will be asked, have you ever lied to get any public benefits? Public benefits is financial help from the government, such as food stamps or health care. These are not part of the new public charge rule. Some benefits, such as rent assistance, scholarships, or unemployment insurance, are seen as means of financial support and may be asked about during the Part 8 Employment and School section. If you are legally qualified to receive these benefits, it's okay. Receiving public benefits does not stop you from getting U.S. citizenship. If the USCIS officer needs further evidence, such as tax returns or public benefits forms, they will send you a letter requesting specific documents after you complete your citizenship interview. Finally, once a legal permanent resident becomes a new U.S. citizen, he or she may sponsor his or her relatives to come to the United States. USCIS will look very carefully at potential immigrants' ability to support themselves. USCIS will look at their work skills, education, and ability to speak English. USCIS will also look at an applicant's health, finances, and ability to integrate into American society. The sponsor must submit an affidavit of support which details their own ability to support the new immigrant. For more details, see the show notes for links to uscis.gov green card process procedures, particularly the public charge page. After this long intro, let's finally get started. The following is a summary of the August 12, 2019 news release. USCIS announces final rule enforcing long-standing public charge inadmissibility law. Today, U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced a final rule that clearly defines the long-standing law to better ensure that aliens seeking to enter and remain in the United States, either temporarily or permanently, are self-sufficient and rely on their own capabilities and resources of family members, sponsors, and private organizations, rather than on public resources. The following is a full reading of this notification. This is dated August the 12th, 2019. Today, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced a final rule that clearly defines long-standing law to better ensure that aliens seeking to enter and remain in the United States, either temporarily or permanently, are self-sufficient and rely on their own capabilities and the resources of family members, sponsors, and private organizations rather than on public resources. This final rule amends DHS regulations by prescribing how DHS will determine whether an alien is inadmissible to the United States based on his or her likelihood of becoming a public charge at any time in the future, as set forth in the Immigration and Nationality Act. The final rule addresses USCIS authority to permit an alien to submit a public charge bond in the context of an adjustment of status applications. The rule also makes non-immigrant aliens who have received certain public benefits above a specific threshold generally ineligible for an extension of stay and a change of status. Quote, "For over a century, the public charge ground of inadmissibility has been a part of the nation's immigration laws. President Trump has delivered on his promise to the American people to enforce long-standing immigration law by defining the public charge inadmissibility ground that has been on the books for years," unquote, said USCIS Acting Director Ken Cuccinelli. Quote, "Throughout our history, self-sufficiency has been a core tenet of the American dream. Self-reliance, industriousness, and perseverance laid the foundation of our nation and have defined generations of hard-working immigrants seeking opportunity in the United States ever since. Through the enforcement of the public charge inadmissibility law, we promote these long-standing ideals and immigrant success. DHS has revised the definition of public charge to incorporate consideration of more kinds of public benefits received, which the department believes will better ensure that applicants subject to the public charge inadmissibility ground are self-sufficient. The rule defines the term public charge to mean an individual who receives one or more designated public benefits for more than 12 months in aggregate within any 36-month period, such that, for instance, receipt of 2 benefits in 1 month counts as 2 months. The rule further defines the term public benefit to include any cash benefits for income maintenance, supplemental security income, SSI, temporary assistance to needy families, TANF, supplemental nutritional assistance program, SNAP, most forms of Medicaid, and certain housing programs. The regulation also excludes from public benefits definitions public benefits received by individuals who are serving in active duty or in the Ready Reserve component of the U.S. Armed Forces, and their spouses and children. Public benefits received by certain international adoptees and children acquiring U.S. citizenship. Medicaid for aliens under 21 and pregnant women. Medicaid for school-based services, including services provided under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and Medicaid benefits for emergency medical services. This rule also makes certain non-immigrant aliens in the United States who have received designated public benefits above the designated threshold ineligible for change of status and extension of stay if they receive the benefits after obtaining the non-immigrant status they seek to extend or from which they seek to change. Importantly, this regulation does not apply to humanitarian-based immigration programs for refugees, asylees, special immigrant juveniles, certain trafficking victims, T-visa non-immigrants, victims of qualifying criminal activities, U-visa non-immigrants, or victims of domestic violence, VAWA self-petitioners, among them. This rule also explains how USCIS will exercise its discretionary authority in limited circumstances to offer alien inadmissible only on the public charge ground the opportunity to post a public charge bond. The final rule sets the minimum bond at $8,100. The actual bond amount will be dependent on the individual circumstance. This final rule supersedes the 1999 interim field guidance on deportability and inadmissibility on public charge grounds and goes into effect 12 a.m. Eastern on October 15th, 60 days from the date of publication in the Federal Register. USCIS will apply the public charge inadmissibility final rule only to applications and petitions postmarked or, if applicable, submitted electronically on or after the effective date. Applications and petitions are already pending with the USCIS on effective date of the rule, postmarked and accepted by USCIS, will be adjudicated based on the 1999 interim guidance. USCIS will provide information and additional details to the public as part of the public outreach related to the implementation of this rule. In the coming weeks, USCIS will conduct engagement sessions for the public and other interested groups to ensure that the public understands which benefits are included in the public charge and admissibility rule and which are not. For more information on USCIS and its programs, visit our website at uscis.gov or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks to the students and staff of Milpitas Adult School. Please visit us on the web at uscitizenpod.com, where we have a new page for 2020 census resources for adult education students. Also, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. I know you will be a great American citizen. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.